Sunset follows in BioShock Infinite's footsteps in how it explores racism, religion, philosophy, revolution, and even culture. Except unlike BioShock Infinite, Sunset never fails to handle the subject matter with grace, nuance, and beautiful clarity. Step into a Latin American penthouse apartment and its overqualified American housekeeper, Angela Barnes. Angela fled her hometown of Baltimore to get away from the racism and stupidity of 1972, only to find herself in another compromised setting, the pre-revolutionary country of Anchuria. Though it's a fictional place, Anchuria feels very grounded in the history of what happens in dictatorial settings. A revolution breaks out, and as Angela, we're forced to watch it happen from the balconies. Sunset does first-person character embodiment better than any game since Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. Sunset does this by bringing up Angela's reflection every time that you get near a glass. You see her shadow as you walk through the light. You hear her sing as she goes about her household chores. You're constantly reminded, you're in Angela's shoes. There's a little bit of dissonance between Angela's ambitions and your own. The things that she says out loud or in her journal ran against my goals from time to time. But the more time that you take with her, the more you want to hear her thoughts, and the more I wanted to be synced up with her ambitions. Simple actions like sitting down have so much power in Sunset. The best way to get inside Angela's head is to sit down and let her simply write down her thoughts. It made me want to get chores done right away so I'd have enough time to sit down and let her process what's going on. Sometimes it was the only way to know what's happening outside of the apartment. We only get to inhabit Angela while she's in the apartment, so the rest of the world becomes this mysterious enigma. It creates some tension that fed my curiosity. The homeowner, Gabriel Ortega, loves art. He leaves his favorite art book open to a new religious painting every day, and it even becomes a source of conversation via notes about the nature of faith and art. This religious Catholic background sets a foundation for so much of the game's interactions, even the calendar itself. Also, the thematic depth and resonance of each art piece in the apartment points back to these reflections of why. In fact, much of the game is like an art gallery, leading you to reflect on the nature of art, or even just the nature of looking at art. To say it gets dry might be an understatement, but for those of us who love it when a set of game designers truly pushes past our expectations of what games can be, it's kind of brilliant. Boredom and loneliness are things that quote-unquote video games shouldn't do, yet Sunset explores these themes in sincerity when the homeowner leaves and Angela just tries to find things to do. This made me think introspectively about things I hate about my own work ethics and tensions in my own world, and I never wanted to stop playing the game despite these less pleasant subjects. Sunset's most obvious comparison is Gone Home, since the game is about your time in somebody else's house. But the difference is major. The house is its own character. It changes. Each day is a little different. It starts as this big empty thing and turns into something that reflects your own choices. It feels alive, like a home, and you spend a lot of time in it. The whole game lasts over a calendar year, which means there's way more days than I even expected. Sunset is like this meaty experience that took me nearly 7 hours to play through. Decisions stamp your personal mark all over the house. Do you lay down a plain rug or go with a lush animal skin? Do you make the exotic caviar dinner or hearty American meal of mac and cheese? Do you go with the simple curtains or something more funky? The consequences to some of these choices may be a little obtuse, but that's also the nature of domestic choices. They affect how things work and look, and to a small degree, your relationship with those who live there. I love the way you can put records on and just relax to the brilliant Austin Wintory soundtrack. Sometimes that music is a nice solace from when the violence of the revolution starts to threaten the apartment. There's these sincerely disempowering moments when glass shatters or a helicopter comes close to the house and it feels dangerous. The believability of this experience is owed to brilliant sound design. Sunset realizes the dream of all of Tale of Tales' previous works is a brilliant summary of what games can be. I could make a long laundry list of irks and pet peeves about the game's performance inconsistency and occasional dissonance, but I don't want to. Sunset's just too good at bringing me into another person's thought life and experience. If you're looking for something that transcendently reflects on the nature of power, war, religion, ethnicity, and political identity, there's nothing that even comes close to Sunset. For plus 10 damage, Sunset gets a 9.0. For more on fascinating games like Sunset, Stay tuned to plus10damage.com.